GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern back in the day, and now we do it at different times throughout the week, but pretty much daily. And I'm now doing some stuff here on the screen that you can't see, and that's distracting. So I'll eventually get over here. We'll open up this. Why don't we just do this behind the puppy here so everybody can see it? But I'm running a little bit late tonight for the people that are joining us live. And let's just blame it on this guy, because why not? That's what co-hosts are for. So we're going to go in here to the Substack, and we're going to create a new post over here. Are you giving me a lip? Is this dog giving me the lip? And if I can find where I'm going to post that. There we go. Boom. That's where it's going to go there. Oh, look, somebody wants a rubbing. Somebody's over this already. He wants a rubbing. All right, so, I've been told by people that make a lot of money that I'm not supposed to have a dog on this show. But if I didn't have a dog on this show, what would be going on right now? You'd all be looking at a blank screen. So, luckily, this dog's over here entertaining everybody with his antics and his caricatures. Right now he's being Nancy Pelosi. Look at him. That's great Nancy Pelosi, buddy. And now, all right, so now how do I click? Let's go over here, click continue. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Put the link to the show in there. If you don't do that, then... Forgot to do? Oops. If you don't do that, then something happens. So we're going to cancel, put the link to the show right there. Now we can continue and publish. So everybody that's subbed to our Substack is now getting that as an email. But what we're going to do is open up on the screen here in front of everybody. And then we'll let Puppy here start licking. He's dying to lick, obviously, this evening. He's got a lick situation happening. All right, so now we can go over to the Substack and check it out. So our thumbnail for the show today changed. Is it going to show? Come on, man. It's the puppy riding around on a horse with a sword. Got that from the AI. You're welcome. Hey. People are here to show up to listen to the show. They don't want to see some dog licking his business. All right. Let me apologize to all the women and children that might have just seen what this dog is doing. And it's awful. It is late at night. So there we go. So it's episode 1595 of our show. Thanks to our Patreons. There's a scroll down at the bottom of the screen down here. And come by and say, our Patreons make it possible for us to spend time on projects like these. Thank you. And it's really true because I'm not independently wealthy. I'm struggling to get out of some debt. I spent a few years driving around the country trying to archive the museums and the gun shops and some industry, but the events really, and a bunch of the rallies and some of the Second Amendment stuff that was going on. And it cost a bunch of money, and I'm digging out of that debt a little bit. So the Patreons make it possible for us to continue the websites and the projects and the time it takes to set stuff up like this. That being said, this week is a combination of last week and this week because of big project thing. It was Gun Rights Policy Conference last week. I had a big project I worked on last weekend. I'll be working on again this weekend. So, smashing everything together. Appreciate everybody's patience and whatever. It's not like we're doing anything critical here, but we are trying to update. So it is frustrating when you don't get an update. So we tried to put as much into this week. I guess the good news is that it was 2 kind of slow weeks, I guess. But let's see. We take this information that we're about to go over right now, and we just put it on our Substack, right? We also put it on our Patreon. Where'd I put it? This is the Patreon. It looks pretty good on Patreon. Patreon lets me do some formatting, and I can do some bold and some stuff, and it turns it into hyperlinks. But what it doesn't do is give us the previews. So as I scroll down here, you'll get the thumbnail preview automatically in Substack. So that's why I like reviewing it here on Substack. But you got the YouTube video, what we're watching. We got the Patreon I just showed you. We've got the newsletter where I attempt to put this stuff out in email each week, especially mostly on the weeks where big stuff happens, when there's actual updates on 2A stuff, or there's important things like the comment period. Those are times when the newsletter is the most important. And then here on Substack, which is essentially a backup blog, let's say. And then on Instagram, we post a lot of this stuff on Instagram. In fact, we have a whole show like this each week where we just look at Instagram and try to take the Second Amendment focused stuff, not just gun stuff, but Second Amendment focused stuff, and bring that off of Instagram over here to YouTube. I'm going to stand up for some of the show today, I think. My butt hurts. So I'm standing up. Puppy's dealing with it by having to look up now. All right, so let's scroll down. We post this stuff all over the place for a few reasons. One, because we're doing this as a weekly update, so that if you're looking for something that has happened in the past, then this is at least another place you can go find it. If you go look at our playlist or our podcast history, you can see these different weekly updates and get hopefully quick access to a link or to something that happened. Well, this dog couldn't be more itchy and wiggly today. I apologize to everybody about how wiggly and itchy this dog is today. Let's say hey to everybody who's joining us live. Again, we did start late, so I don't know if everybody's still out there. She-Fire's the first one to say hey. May or may not be down for the count. Yep, it's kind of late for some folks, especially on that East Coast. But thanks for saying hey. That was actually way earlier today. Guns Waters out there, welcome. Gunpowder Beauty, also out there this evening. Ron Wayne, and I think that Roy Munson is out there, and I think that's everybody. So thanks everybody for joining us. Wiggling butts is always acceptable. How about a spanking on the butt? Can you hear me spanking them? Anyway, Pug looks majestic on his steed. It was thanks to the AI. It was the only good one. I'd said, give me a pug going across the Civil War battlefield with a sword. And most of them made him look like a horse. So, like a giant pug horse. Best co-host ever? We've had some pretty good co-hosts, though. All right, so let's get into it. So the news this week, we start with the 2A news. Then we've got some gun news, and then some radio shows and some interviews that I listened to. Then we talk about the stuff that we've done. And normally at the end, I'd have the calendar, but I just haven't been able to update all that today. So this is essentially 2 weeks worth of stuff combined. And this first one is from Patriot. And this is a senator from Alabama. I've never heard of her, Katie Britt. Any show of hands, anybody know who she is? Because I don't really pay attention. Maybe everybody knows who she is, and I'm just not paying attention. But this was an impassioned plea, I guess, about the border down here in Arizona. Can you calm down, buddy? You're not going to get petted throughout the whole show. Not going to happen. Look at he's gonna die of being not petted. Poor animal. I was thinking about playing this one, but I'm not going to play it. But essentially, she talks about some of the really gross stuff that's happening and some of the numbers. And, it's frustrating. I know that the numbers living in Tucson, I've heard about the border literally the entire time I've lived out here. because we kind of live right next to it. But the scale of it now is like nothing ever before. So it's really difficult to get across, the scale of the stuff that's happening when people don't, I guess, have anything to gauge it with. Somebody Gunpowder asked for a belly rub, so we're going to accommodate that with a puppy belly rub right here. Right, so then we get into the 2A talk. See, there was actually some news this week, but I didn't want to get into the distractions. The biggest news is the comment periods. That's something where we have an opportunity to work together and to really accomplish something that gets written down in front of the people who are trying to abuse us all the time. So, when they abuse us and we just cower away, they kind of win. So when we collectively cower away from the comment periods and just flinch, we are losing. You know what I mean? So it'd be cool if everybody was, just upset and understood the comment periods are one of those things you just got to deal with. And, we dealt with it appropriately by wailing on it. We've done it before when it was cool. It's just not cool this time around, I guess. It'll be cool towards the end, right? Once it gets to the end and we're losing, everybody will come out and it'll be the only news of the day for a while. It's just sad that we can't do that ahead of time. So let's see, we get into, is this Crump? No, this is Crump talking about the Brady campaign doing some stuff with the comment periods, because this is 2 weeks old now. So the Brady is essentially paying to have a bunch of the comments swamped. Is that right? Yeah, flooded. So they're flooding the comment periods, 10,000, 30,000, 10,000s a day or something. So it's just, it's definitely going to be skewed. And again, even if you don't count it as mattering, it means that they're empowering their base. They're successfully getting their base to call to action, whatever that call to action might be in this case. Comment, they're getting them to do that. So giving them an opportunity to do that is lame. It's just not necessary. It's like watching the other side practice and get better in front of you. I'd rather be practicing over here ourselves. So they're the ones watching. All right, and then we get how ignorant hurts gun owners. So this is Gun Owners of America, which is essentially the only ones talking about this. Crump and Gun Owners of America, a little bit FPC, but that would have to be on the Instagram thing, so I haven't seen him do anything on YouTube very much at all. But this is the one dude from Gun Owners of America. Have you ever tried to
talk politics with a friend?
Oh, snap, this is 2 weeks ago. So they've done two. This is the one with the girl telling you about the comment periods and saying don't be scared of the comment periods. And then there's another one with the dude. Or maybe that one was on Instagram. But I put that stuff up in front of Suicide Prevention Saturday, even though Brooke's effort is consistent and important and amazing. The comment periods are immediate, like they're happening right now. So they take a bit of precedence. But Brooke Cheney does Suicide Prevention Saturday, a show which is focused on suicide prevention, mental health awareness, and she does a consistent show each Saturday. It's usually half an hour or less, 20 minutes long, and then she'll focus on some aspect or element of having better conversations or just being more aware or opening up your perception to some of the issues so that we can have better conversations amongst ourselves, with others, and ideally help people out who are stressed out and having the save lives ideally. So great to learn more about the way to have conversations, be more comfortable with the topic of mental health each Saturday afternoon or evening, depending where you live. Then we got dude from Four Boxes Diner. What does everybody think of this guy? So great new standard for Second Amendment. I think he does a lot of videos. So, what are you going to do? Let's try to have them all not bleed together. It's tough. So I think this is the one where he's saying that the precedent should be set to 1791 or something, because that's where there's true freedom. When you get to after the Civil War, the laws are all racist. So if they start counting those, then they're counting racist laws as justification for gun control. I think that's what this one's about. Roy is saying that he's okay for a lawyer. I mean, he speaks fast. I'm okay with that because I don't want to sit here all day listening to somebody talk about boring stuff. The frequency is getting on my nerves. I don't want to hear something every single day because then when you miss something, you don't know what's important and what's noise. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. If people cower away, then they are lacking 2A and allegedly they don't like dogs. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to summarize it, I suppose. Gunswater saying commented, right on. You know, each one of us, the drops, never think we're responsible for the flood. So the commenting, the act of commenting, but then also just letting people know we commented, not shying away from, you know, when somebody asks who's commented, being able to raise your hand and be one of the people who, you know, let people know that it is a thing to do and it's not hard or difficult or anything. It's all part of it, right? It's all part of it. It's hard to say you can't really say it's all critical. It's all the most important, but it kind of is. Because if none of us did anything, then, you know, they'd win. They just steamroll us. All right, I'm going to try not to look at what this is, but I'm going to look at what this is. Something got stolen from me right now. Which one? Oh my goodness. I got to go see what got stolen from me. Something got stolen from me. Clickety click. I'm just going to click one little click here real quick. One other little click. Real quick like. No big deal. I'm just going to click over here. Whew. This is the one I didn't want to have stolen from me. Oh, good. The thing I didn't want got stolen from me, which is awesome. Couldn't have worked out better. I got that. Okay, good. I got one more thing that could possibly happen. I'll just leave that open. Let's just leave that open. Nobody will mind. All right, so for Boss's guy, you know, I don't link to everything he does. Plus, I think he has some opinion about people linking to him, which is interesting for somebody on YouTube. Nobody remembers this, but there was a time, man, I wish there was people around that could remember this. Oh, man, what was her name? There was this girl who freaked the fuck out because I tried to, you know, promote her show by linking to it, and she got pissed that I linked. I can't remember what her deal was. That was a long time ago. So as every once in a while, you do encounter somebody who does not like it when you try to promote their show by linking to them. They think you're stealing. Gunswater saying clickbait and every day a new video all about what was said in yesterday's video, and that tries my patience. Yeah, I hear you exactly, and that's sort of I get it. But if you didn't put a video up every 5 seconds, you wouldn't need to do that. You wouldn't need to give us your bearings all the time. Give us bearings all the time. We'd know what was up. But speaking of that guy, I can't remember this one anymore. What he said in this one. It must have been good because I posted it. But this is 2 weeks worth of one. So this is the 4 boxes guy talking about why the anti-gunners are so mad about New Mexico. Which I don't believe any of that anyway. That's all BS distraction to mess with us, and so that they can own the comment period. They're sick of us winning the comment periods. We've owned too many of them. We use it to our advantage too often. So they're doing an attempt, I believe a coordinated attempt to distract us from it. But I might be wrong. So then we've got Alex Uli, and the show is called Forge of Freedom, and this guy's a lawyer, and then he interviews people, and this is episode 64. He's interviewing Jeff Knox. I haven't listened to this one yet, but I'm curious to listen to this one because in this one he titles it Jeff Knox Fighting to Save the NRA. And Jeff doesn't necessarily love the NRA, but he's also aware that the NRA is a $264 million operation, and the next closest organization is the one in Colorado that nobody pays attention to, that's bringing in something like $20 million and does nothing with it. And then you've got Gun Owners of America bringing in, let's say, somewhere between $10 and $16 million. And then you've got Second Amendment Foundation bringing in between, I don't know, 12 and 20,000 or 12 and $20 million. So these organizations together don't come near what the NRA does. So what people take for granted from the NRA is ridiculous. And the fact that the little barking dogs don't like that the big sleeping dog isn't paying attention to them they're willing to throw the sleeping dog out with the bed, with the old dog bed, or whatever the analogy would be. But at least Jeff's over here offering an alternative to that, so I'm curious to see what that's all about. I think it's like an hour. That's why I haven't listened to it yet. I might listen to that one after the show. Let's see. So next up is the armed attorneys out of New Texas, and this one is the whole thing about this guy. And if he gets charged, then we like 4473s, so it doesn't make sense. This is one that we should be wanting no 4473s, and we should be leveraging that out of this. I don't know if we can or not, but I can't remember. This was a week or two, or over a week ago. So just mentioning that, but I don't know. I don't like all the attorneys out there, but consistently I've liked armed attorneys more than I've liked, or longer, I should say, not more, but longer than I've liked the other attorneys. They do put out stuff on a regular basis, but they're not like sky is falling as much. They're just like, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, have you thought about this? And they're also like 3 minutes long, and they shut up about it. They don't go for 20 minutes telling you the same thing over and over again. But, everybody's got their own style and their different tastes and stuff, I guess. And everybody's got their own goals and their own agendas too, right? Next up is Sociology of Guns, which is, this is the Light Over Heat project. The Sociology of Guns is the name of the class that Professor Yamane hosts at his college. And this was a field trip from that class to the gun range. And this is a video. Oh my goodness, did that hurt? I was sick yesterday, so coughing all day, and so just coughing right now. Yanked on my rib muscles, I guess. Anyway, this was essentially just a video he did talking about the kids' reaction and their comments, I guess, or whatever, their how they reacted to the event in writing. And then after this, just yesterday or today, maybe it was either earlier today, it could have been yesterday, so it'd be earlier today, he was posting something about one of the kids in one of his classes had asked to have their name removed from the list because they were afraid that by having their name associated with guns at college, it would affect their next level of college, whatever their next learning was going to be. So that's kind of interesting. G23's out there. 10 millimeter thumbs up. Right on. Appreciate it. Thanks for the thumbs up for the people that are doing it. Let's see. Now we have from Professor Yamane, his explainer video where he talks about the 2 books that he's currently writing. So he started out writing one book. Hey, buddy, nobody wants to see that. He started out writing one book, and then he kind of ended up writing a second book. And then now that he had 2 books in the works, he had to decide which one to finish first. One was the book learning nerd one, the book nerd one, and the other one was his experience. And he decided to go with his experience first, his experience within the gun community as a educator. But then he's saying how he kind of regrets it. He thinks he probably should have gone for the other one first to give him an authority in the subject, and then gone for his experience in the realm, so that it wasn't so much of a. Anyway, he thinks that would have been a better way to go. I don't know if you have an opinion on that. So we got KET Canada. If there was another co-host at this show originally, our first co-host for the Daily Gun Show was Bob. He's still out there. He still kicks around every once in a while. He says, hey. But Bob was from Canada. We didn't hold him against him, and he was the co-host of the show at the beginning and all the way through until like episode into the thousands, I think. Bob was around till like 1100 or something, maybe. I forget. So anyway, so we're fond of Canada. We have a large international land border with the country, and I guess some of us like the syrup and some of the other things from up there. So this is one of the channels from Canada, and they've got a lot of stuff going on, but this one, let's see. Honestly, I don't know why I linked to this one, because they have another one where they talk about suppressors. I think in this one, in the preview to it, it's looked like they were going to kind of do a review of the what they're doing to block Canada's BS, because Canada's wailing on gun owners up there. So the gun owners are doing things to attempt to block that. And I believe this episode, they try to summarize the status of all that. We don't do a good enough job, in my opinion, of paying attention to Canada. We really don't pay enough attention to Mexico. We'd be way better off if we, as a gun community, paid a lot more attention and could talk competently and accurately and with accuracy about Mexico and Canada, and probably Australia, but for sure Canada and Mexico, just to do ourselves good, to know our neighbors better. But then, just as people in this community, we'd be better off so that the antis wouldn't be able to hide behind with their assumptions of Mexico and Canada. Now we get to Locked and Loaded Latinos. I don't know how many people are following this channel, but Locked and Loaded Latinos did episode 128. It was Joe's birthday, and soon after the episode, they said they are no longer doing shows anymore, kind of abruptly with no explanation. So you'll use that as a opportunity to remind people that value your voice. You're here right now, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. Our actions have consequences, and our lack of actions, have voids. If we don't do something, it doesn't get done. There's no obligation to interact on the internet, but there's certainly an opportunity. And like butterflies and flapping wings and all that stuff, the amplification of chatter, the amplification of whispers that turn into loud conversations that turn into yelling and then chanting, and then things change. That kind of stuff is evident out there all the time. And I don't know how many people watch the comings and goings of their channel and how they did their thing and what they got involved with and how they did it. But that's the end of an era, I guess. The end of a couple. We don't have too many couples at all in the Second Amendment realm. It's all individuals. It's all people who are doing it as their own hobby. Very few couples. And they covered a lot of niches with the whole gaming thing and being in Florida and being young. So again, we'll look to see what happens with them, and who knows what the deal is, because it kind of ended abruptly. But we're not guaranteed anything. Value your voice. Value the voices that you value. We have a Patreon. We mentioned it before. Definitely value the people that allow us to do what we've done over the years. For 2 years, I think, we drove around the country spending money at gun shops. People would spend $75 a month on our Patreon, and we would keep $25 for gas and doing our thing. We would put $25 at the gun shop, buy them $25 worth of stuff, I think, and then spent $20 shipping it or something like that. So for months, we would drive around and just spend hundreds of dollars at gun shops around the country as we were traveling, and then send that stuff to Patreons. We've done books, done all kinds of patches and stuff. We've done projects to help other people get into merch and try to figure out, how to do that kind of stuff and get the ball rolling with it. So all of that stuff is possible through collaboration out there. So we really appreciate the people that are around to see this stuff happen while it can. All right, so another new couple, I guess, on the scene is 2A cops. This is a couple of cops from California. One of them was from San Francisco, and I forget, the dude on the right's from San Francisco, and I forget where the dude on the left's from. But they both retired, and they both teach cops still. And they're putting out a channel with an alternative point of view on what is happening from the cops' perspective. When these things get passed by city chiefs and politicians, that's not what the cops on the street are typically, that's not their mindset. So when you talk to sheriffs, you get a little bit better perspective typically on what the person on the street who's dealing with day to day. And this, dang it. Oh, I got outbid in 4 seconds. Are you kidding me? Come on. Where's my mouse? Come on. 5. Oh, you bastards. Stolen from me 2 seconds away. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That was stolen. Everybody was witness. You didn't actually see it happen, but you heard it happen. Oh, and this cursed phone texted me seconds too late to save that thing. Dang it. I was keeping an eye on it over here too, and I had it all the way up until the last couple of moments. That's one of the only times I don't like having such a wide monitor, because it takes me so long for my mouse to get over to that other screen. All right. Well, anyway, so this is 2A cops, and they go around trying to offer this perspective of what cops think when we hear about all these different laws and things. But this is just an intro. They actually blew up as a channel because a bunch of people who hate cops showed up and talk shit on their channel in the comments. And guess what? That engaged the logarithm and turned them into a giant channel. So they were this channel, not even talking about guns, really, talking about Second Amendment stuff. So super boring. And nobody was really paying attention to them. And then a bunch of anti-cop people showed up and said stuff like, fuck the police and shit. And those comments turned them into a viral channel, and they got huge. So they essentially put this video up to say, hey, welcome, and here's who we are. We're cops, and we were made large by people who hate cops, and here we are now. Kind of interesting story there. All right, so then you get the Gun Rights Policy Conference. I don't know what to tell you. Show of hands, how many people listened to this, tried to listen to it? So I got to go up. Thanks again to the Patreons. I went up on Friday morning for half of AmCon, and we bought them donuts. We can go over to the Instagrams, I believe. And if we go to the Instagrams for the gear side, we can see the donuts that we brought up. I didn't really get very many pictures. Well, I did get a bunch of pictures. I didn't post very many pictures, so I think this is actually the only pictures I posted. Mainly because I didn't bring my internet with me. I had just my one phone with internet on it. So we got some donuts from this place called Bosa Donuts. Bosa Donuts. Anybody ever gone to that before? There's the boxes, and then brought them in. We made sure it was okay first, and then went and got them. So did an assortment. Got some sprinkles out there for the people that love sprinkles. Got some of the longer ones for those kind of people. And a bunch of people from AmCon ate them up. They were pretty much gone by lunch. All right, so I don't know how many people tried to listen. So it turns out if you were trying to listen to the streams, the audio is, let's just say, not what we'd expect after however many years of doing it. And I think it was until Sunday afternoon. So the all day Friday, all day Saturday until Sunday is when it started to clear up and be consistently decent to listen to. So I listened to some of it on Sunday, and I just wasn't able to listen to it on Saturday. But a bunch of people who did said that it wasn't very good. So we can find out by clicking on this, I guess.
The kind of modern law.
So I guess there was this noise in it.
Purchase, but was surprised to learn that he was being denied by the
I don't know if you can hear the noise,
Department.
but it sounds like an electronic cricket is trying to program your brain, so it's kind of hard to listen to. So this one was Saturday afternoon, a little better.
You go past a fence on the
sort of there.
Or alternatively, the fence isn't enough. There has to be no trespassing. Or alternative, whenever I'm speaking here.
Of course, super quiet and super boring. So virtual donuts for the wrap up. Actually, we distributed donuts underneath of everybody's chair. Now, assuming a bunch of ants didn't get to them, I laid those donuts down earlier this morning, and some of them were pretty sticky with with frosting on them. No syrup. That would have been pancakes. That was last week. But we did put a donut underneath everybody who'd be listening tonight's chair. And, there may or may not be ants under there. Maybe your dog got to it. I don't know. But there was a donut underneath everybody's chair. I guess I should have mentioned that earlier in the show. Sorry. So a couple of links to Gun Rights Policy Conference. And, like always, I don't know who they're pointing this thing to. Sometimes it was nerd stuff for us, the advocates. Sometimes it was introductions to the world. So sometimes it was for the for going outwards. I'm not sure where they target it really, but we had exactly what we usually get. A little bit bigger scale, I think, maybe. Let's see. Wondering why there's pants were sticking in a chair. Yep. Oh, you see, here's the problem. If you're going to be laying in a bed, we never know what to do with the donuts. So I just put them in the bathroom. So you're going to want to check your bathroom. I just put them in there. I figure that's the most appropriate thing to do with them. Hold on, I got bubbles. Holy moly, that was a lot of blowing my nose right there. Maybe the dog wake up. All right, so next we get from Wilson Combat's channel. Masada talks about kind of different adventures he's gone on and stuff. Kind of neat to listen to a dude reflect on his circumstances. Yeah, I'm yawning now too. Reflecting. Look, now puppy's stretching. Everybody's yawning. Everybody's stretching. He's about to yawn. So kind of neat to listen to Mas reflect and chat about some stuff. You've got ALM. I don't know what that means. So you've got Rebecca Schmoy on with writing Shotgun with Charlie. And then the Gun Owners of America is doing a podcast now. And the first two were just talking to people in the industry, talking to marketing people in the industry. This third one was talking to Battle Buddy 3 Gun, which is a nonprofit organization, a shooting sport, where they incorporate a wheelchair and make it accessible for anybody who's able, in any way that people are abled. So it's a pretty good conversation for about 45 minutes, talking to them about the where the organization comes from and what it does and where it's going. Here is another one, because Canada's been doing stuff up there. This one was pretty interesting. I listened to a portion of this. But essentially, they challenge, they call them liberals up there because Canada has different words for their politicians or whatever. So I think liberal means an actual party up there. But I'm not sure. But essentially, this is someone challenging a politician to tell why, to offer why the legislation at hand is being suggested and how it'll work. And she just couldn't. She didn't understand or fathom anything about it. So putting them on the spot like that, I don't know if that's effective or not. I kind of think it should be done way more often, right? But if you can't have your opinion or your position challenged, and you can't state why you have your position, then seriously, isn't that politics? That's just doing something because you don't want the other. That's just doing something because the other person, is not going to like the effort or whatever. All right, so we had the big machine gun shoot with Dragon Man, and this is his largest museum tour. He talks for a minute here about the tour. I'll let him chat.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for coming out. I'm the Dragon Man, and this will be the biggest tour I ever did in the museum in 38 years. I wasn't expecting this many people. Luckily, I got a lot of help today. I got 3 other people helping me. This is Justin over there. That's Vance.
So if you've never seen Dragon Man's, I can't even imagine how. I'm glad to see that people are taking advantage of what we've got right now in 2023. But you can go to Dragon Man's, have a machine gun shoot, buy stuff from them, and go on this museum tour. Oh my goodness. And just be part of something like this. This is a big one because it's his 31st annual machine gun shoot. And I don't think they're wrapping up the tours for the year. Is it that cold in Colorado already? but it could be. I thought they wrap them up after Wanamaker in November. I could be wrong, but I know it says machine gun shoot, and this was a big turnout for the machine gun shoot. So just the idea of being able to go through his museum is awesome, but being able to go through his museum with so many other people would just be like, going to not just going to a concert, but going to a big concert or something. Just super cool. So, I probably appreciate this, but I appreciate it after having been through on a normal size tour. So this would be neat, but I think I would also want to go through, or I'd also recommend going through on a normal size tour so that you can actually have some time looking at everything. I'm guessing those were those tours were moving a little quicker because they had 2 or 3 going at the same time. I don't know how many people watch Tactical Rifleman. He's a Green Beret, and he knows what he's talking about. And this was a pretty good description in this video of prisms versus, what are they, holographic red dots. So if you've ever thought about those little tiny optics that people put on guns nowadays and the way that they're built, it's either a piece of glass with a laser pointed at it or a prism with some etching. And he goes over the pluses and minuses and some of the models that are out there. Hello. Came inside. Girl dog came inside. She doesn't do that very often during the show. It was Joe's birthday. I don't know if that has something to do with why they quit doing their thing, but she's been doing stuff with the game channels, and this was some kind of surprise party at the game channel thing. Gunswater saying someday I'll go to Dragon Man's. Man, I would highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Dragon Man's such a cool dude. So this was interesting. I'm going to leave it interesting on this one. So Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network is an alternative to the people that call themselves insurance. It's a group of people. This was the first. This was created by Marty Hayes and Masada Ayub and some other people. And this was the first of the organizations. It was a network where people pooled their money, their resources, to have in the event of some sort of a lethal force incident where they needed more money, more funding than they had available to them as an individual. And because when you have a lot of people adding monthly to a fund, just like anything, that can accumulate way faster than the people might need it, then what you end up with is a self-sustaining thing because you can end up with a pile of money. So I remember when this thing first started, I was one of the first not first members, but I joined it right when I first heard about it in the beginning. And they finally reached critical mass, and in other words, enough millions of dollars in the pool that the interest started to grow and everything. So it was large enough that they even brought down the rates and stuff to be a part of it. So essentially, instead of claiming to be insurance, they just have this fund. And if you're part of the network and something happens and you need resources, you have money available to you. And it's not insurance, so it's not like a wish list of anything in the world. It's not comparable to insurance. But it's created by people like Marty Hayes and Masada Ayub and other people who were practical and understood the needs of individuals and what could be accomplished through the collaboration. I don't know what word to use there, but through everybody pitching in. So now, years later, they're trying to offer some other aspects, I guess. So they've started doing this series of videos, and this, I don't know who she is interviewing people. This first one is about networking. That's interesting. And then there's a second one with what's-his-face, Michael Bain, about flash mobs. So that's interesting. Anyway, then we get into Roll Call, doing a bunch of videos now that he's quit doing his rants and raves. And this one was on one of the early Ravens that he's got, a Raven 25. Always cool to see the Ravens. Real nice looking Zamek gun. Oh, that hurts so much to cough. Then we got She Fires, and she does her chats on Sunday. So she just did episode 5. Check those things out on Sundays if you're looking for a place to hang out, have a conversation. Kind of all over as far as topics. She might have a couple of topics, but she listens to the chat and kind of interacts. It's a fun time. Then you get Chris from 740 posting about some, I guess, his Smith & Wesson version of the Keltec PMR 30. Is that what we're not supposed to say? But I don't know if this thing's polymer like a PMR 30 or not, but it certainly has the same grip angle and overall shape. And then, of course, Chris does his show on Wednesdays. It sounds like he's doing them on a semi-regular. So this one was with Spectre Solutions and a bunch of people. Like always, he has his panel. So worth listening to, keeping up with what's going on. They'll touch on reloading. They'll touch on competition shooting. They'll touch on events. They'll touch on, new stuff that's coming out. Speaking of touching on stuff, Clover and Ghost do their show. The Closed podcast. I forgot if they were talking about musicals or something like that this week. It's all over the place with topics. I got sick, so I couldn't be on Yankee Show yesterday, but I like to link to it because he always sends me a link, and I'm either driving around or sick, seems like the last couple of times. I'll get back on there one of these days. There's What's-His-Face talking to her about flash mobs. So, turns out Michael Bain has been in about 16 different riots. So, how'd you know? Would you know? I would have never thought that. Then we have Clover talking to Gunsnob as part of his podcast series. I guess he lost a bet or something happened. I listened to it for quite a while, and then somewhere around I forgot about where in there I said, nah, I'm done. They were talking shit about something that got me pissed off. And let's see, then you get Gear Report. I think that was from last week because I didn't listen to it this week. Each Saturday, Foss does his show, The Mouse Party. And let's see, that would have been last week. So I'm guessing this week will be a mouse party again. The mouse party is like a no topic, just get together and chat on the overnight. And the every other week is his the overnight show, and that's where he'll have a topic. So I believe he had a topic last week. So this week will just be a mouse party, no topic situation. I need to pull my nose again, so we're going to listen to a commercial maybe? Yeah, let's do this.
AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007, and since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions.
We do that on Saturdays with Tony Simon and Clover Tack. This Saturday, I'm trying to get them to talk about AmCon, so maybe we'll talk about AmCon. Neither one of them went. I only kind of watched it a little bit, so we'll see if they're interested in talking about it or not. By the way, that freaked this dog out. He almost jumped off the table. So check out the Mouse Party. I'm pretty sure it's a Mouse Party this week. A No-Handed Shooter was supposed to be on with Clover, and then Clover rudely canceled the show and pushed it back 2 weeks, which I feel is a rude way to run your podcast, but whatever. It's the way he's doing it. Then he had this show on with Lock Grips. I think that happened today. We have, here in Arizona, a place called the Game and Fish Department. It's a state-level organization that takes care of the games and the fishes, the game animals and the fishes. So, I've been watching their television show from back in the olden days. They've always had a show on cable on Saturdays that was, I think it was an hour long. It might have been a half an hour sometimes, but it was always well produced, super fun to watch because it was so visually interesting. And then it was informative. They tell you about all these different things that the Game and Fish Department's doing. Essentially propaganda, but also like the kind of thing that you could show probably any age classroom so that they'd learn some about what's going on at the state level organization and what's going on with critters, in the biology or whatever, the nature that they're talking about. So they started doing this show 3 episodes ago on the internet. It took them all this time to put it on the internet. And it's pretty good. It's like you'd think it's about half awoke, but what are you going to do? It's pretty cool, though. They had this drone going around and feeding gophers so that they can put ferrets out. And wolves. Everybody hates wolves, so it's always fun to watch stuff about wolves. Most everybody hates wolves. The rest of us like wolves. Let's see. So that's all the gun stuff that happened. I probably missed some things. Like I say, I apologize because I'm kind of cramming 2 weeks in here. I'm already at an hour, and we're about halfway through. Well, maybe more than halfway, but it would be way worse if I really got everything in there for 2 weeks. Let's see. We got some radio shows that we listen to each week. The main one is Rapid Fire Radio on Wednesdays, and Toby goes live, talks with the audience, the people that call in, the people that are watching the show live, and then the second hour of the 2-hour show, he has a guest on, and they chat about a long format discussion. So for an hour, they talk about whatever's up. So it's a great show to listen to and it's every Wednesday. So right now, real heavy conversations about Massachusetts 4420, of course. The other radio shows I listen to have been, the one on Sunday is always there, Gun Owners Radio, which is out of California. It's just that lately I haven't been able to catch it live. And then Come and Talk It Radio has changed their day till Wednesday, but then they've been very infrequent, so I'm not sure what's happening with that one. Michael Cargill's involved, or is the focus of 2 different national level cases, one with the bump stocks and a second one with gun shops using unfair scrutiny to close down FFLs. So he's suing the federal government, and he's taking it up to the circuit court on both of those. So he might just be super busy and not able to do his show. Then we talk about some military interview shows. There's Ozzy out there. Good afternoon. Each week I usually am listening to the Mic Drop podcast, which is the Navy SEAL. I listen to the Team House, which is a Green Beret and a Ranger. They interview people as a team. Then I listen to Combat Story, which is a Apache helicopter pilot, and then he went into the CIA for a while. He interviews people. And then I'll also listen to Ed Manifesto whenever he's got something, and OG Pumpkin when he does something. And, am I missing something? I think I'm missing at least one other thing in there. So there's some really good podcasts. By the time you get those 3 main ones, Ed's Manifesto and OG Pumpkin barely do 1 or 2 a month if you're lucky, maybe 1 a month. And theirs are always interesting. But the Team House, Combat Story, and Mic Drop, they're constantly talking to people who are in all different kinds of interesting jobs, have been around at interesting times, and then have interesting positions on stuff. So really learn a lot from those. And it's like listening to books on tape, except they're interactive. Team House is definitely the best one because it's live. The other 2 are taped and then edited a little bit, so they kind of go a little bit quicker, but they're edited. So Team House is just amazing. So this one with the deep dive into Syria was pretty interesting. I don't know how many people are paying attention to Syria, but it's not going away. And then this guy, the one with Hawk from, he was a recon. He was short range recon in Vietnam, and he was a medic, and amazing. Even back in the day, we didn't get these interviews. These guys wouldn't open up. Nowadays, they don't mind opening up and talking about their stuff. You can't be tender and listen to these guys talk about Nam. It's epic. It's epic. Every once in a while, back in the day, they'd be drunk or something, and they'd talk about this stuff, or you could listen to them talk to each other about stuff, and you'd overhear some of this stuff, but they'd never talk to you about it. And now they're just reminiscing, letting people know about these stories so that they're not lost. Epic. Really good. This one was really good. I didn't link to all of them. There's about 4 really good ones, though, this month, or in the last 2 weeks. We did some stuff. We usually talk about Instagram the same way we're talking about YouTube, to kind of wrap it up, kind of focus on the stuff that's important. It helps us keep track of the events and what's happening out there, and the after actions of how the events went. Clover and I get together on Tuesdays, and we talk about coaching for people that are trying to create content or curious about it. We try to inspire and motivate people to do that, give you some resources and some tips and tricks, answer questions. We offer time after the show for coaching. You can jump in and talk to us privately about stuff so that you can be part of this whole thing if you want. It's free. It's what the internet's all about. If nobody wanted to be part of nothing, we'd have still been working with England. But a bunch of people wrote pamphlets and a bunch of people wrote books and a bunch of people distributed those pamphlets and books. And that's essentially what we're doing with memes and blog posts on the internet, is we're doing the same kind of stuff that was necessary at all times for individuals to remain free. So we don't win by having a few people show us stuff. We win by us all being involved. At least that's my goal for the Tuesday shows. So if you're interested, the last couple of weeks and a couple more weeks from now, we'll be talking about intermediate stuff for advanced content creation. We often kind of talk about the basics or the intro stuff. So this was a couple of weeks to set aside for the people that have been doing this for a while. And I think we'll probably spend this next Tuesday talking about SHOT Show, since badges are out and everybody's hot for SHOT Show right now. And then that's it. I usually have a bunch of stuff in the calendar. I guess we can just go to gun calendars and just go see what is there. Why isn't it just opening for me? So we'll just jump over there. Essentially, you'll see that there's not a bunch of ads, or there's actually no ads at all. It's just a calendar, and we try to keep it full of what's important out there or what's interesting. So Arizona started our CCW in 2009. So, I guess this was specifically CCW in bars. So there you go. We could carry in bars. I guess this is different than constitutional carry. So in 2009, Arizona started saying we can carry our firearms in bars as long as we're not drunk. We weren't the first state to do it. Like Nevada was like that always, but it's a step to show that gun owners aren't the problem. If we were, we would be getting into violence all the time, and we don't. Let's see, the domestic violence offender gun ban in 1997, the Lodberg Amendment, and essentially that's kind of the slippery slope that people refer to all the time. When you say that misdemeanor abuse, nobody likes abuse, but when you say misdemeanor abuse means you lose a right, that means you lose a right for a misdemeanor. So either make the crime a felony, which it should be, but don't make it a misdemeanor so that you create precedent for misdemeanors removing rights. See, there's some legal garbage here, and the other side aren't stupid. They do things intentionally to look bad or to have bad optics so that then they can be offended. Let's see. So Red October, I think that got canceled. Let's find out if that got, I think it got canceled. We'll go find out. So unfortunately that one got canceled. Browning's first firearm is coming up. We've got Blade Show West. I believe that still is going on. We've got the Liberal Gun Clubs Convention. That's in Vegas, I believe. Yep. Let's see. Surefire Lights was started in 1979 next month. The Big Sandy machine gun shoot happens next month. So next month is Glocktober, by the way. Let's see. The Gun Control Act of 1968 was signed back in 1968, obviously, in October. The North American Sporting Goods Wholesaler Expo is coming up at the end of October. That's a show that happens in Columbus, Ohio, and it's essentially a little tiny SHOT Show. Gun Blast always goes to it. Nobody else goes to it. So if you're in Ohio and you like going to places that are essentially SHOT Show, seeing everything a few months before everybody else sees it at SHOT Show, that's happening. We got the anniversary of the gunfight at the OK Corral and that PLACA, the thing that the antis hate, the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act of 2005, back when the antis attempted to put gun companies out of business by suing gun companies for the acts of criminals and the negligent. So by associating anything bad that happens from a gun with a financial obligation that's insane, millions of dollars in court settlement, it would essentially remove the industry from existence. That was their goal. and the protection of lawful commerce in arms was one consequence so that it would stop happening. But you had it happen with the Ring of Fire guns, you had it happen with Glock, you had it happen with Smith & Wesson, you had it happen with Ruger and a couple other companies, and it was winning until Glock essentially stopped it. So a lot of people hate Glock, but they stopped a whole massive wave of gun control in the early 2000s. All right, well, I guess that's it. We'll say thanks, everybody, for joining us, and whoever that bastard is that stole that last thing from me while I was over here distracted by doing the show, horrible. I had it at $2 and they stole it from me for $3. But I think I'll live. So with that, we'll wrap this one up. I usually have a poll. I didn't have a poll going this time. So we'll say thanks again to the people that joined us live. Thanks to the person who bought something over at the Gear website store today. Patch went out extra with that. And it is Free Patch Friday. I usually don't mention that enough, but Gizzard does. Thanks to Gizzard for posting about that on the regular in his show that happens right before this one each week, Foul Territory. Tomorrow, you'll see me and Clover and Tony get together and maybe talk about gun rights policy. Maybe we'll just do Ask Gun Questions. We'll see. Brooke will be doing suicide prevention Saturday. Chris from 740 sometimes does the show on Saturdays. Does Travis do his show in the morning? Somebody will have to let us know. And then in the evening, Foss does the mouse party. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back, let's see, tomorrow. And one day I'll have this thing all queued up to click on this, and it'll sound all savvy.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
And for Patriot, who's always posting awesome perspective on things, we got our Ninja exit.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is